Hi, Jed from Cook Culture. I'm here with my children, Taylor and Chloe. We are cleaning out our smoothie bar in our downtown location, so it's closed. So we're trying to process all of the produce that we have, and we have a whole whack of avocados that we use in salads, and they are starting to age. They have almost no time left. So we've got to do something with a lot of avocado really quickly. And there's one thing that we love more than anything to do with avocado, and what's that?
Avocado mousse.
Making avocado chocolate mousse. So we thought we would show you, this is one thing that we do in one of our cooking classes that people love seeing, because when this is done, it's almost impossible to tell the difference between a dairy-based product and an avocado-based product. You know, it's such a fatty fruit. So have a watch and we'll show you the finished product. So we're gonna start with throwing all of the avocado into a food processor. This may be more than what we need. You know, and if realistically, if you're doing this at home, you wouldn't want to do more than maybe half an avocado per person. So we have a lot of mousse here. We'll put this into a cooler, into our like deep freeze fridge, and it will last for a good long time in this state. We'll get it into the cooler. We're going to be adding maple syrup. We're going to be adding salt as a preservative, and we're going to be adding chocolate cacao powder. And when you're scooping these out, something that I'm doing here is that you need to be, when they're really ripe, be really careful of cutting in and putting in any skin. You throw in some skin that I did last time, and it was horrible. Little black pieces of skin all over the place. It only really happens when you're using really, really ripe avocados. So if you're using kind of perfect avocados, it's a little more tough to cut into the skin. So we are getting close to being done here. And then we're going to start with blending all this avocado, which is a lot. Luckily we're using a 16 cup food processor. So we're using probably altogether here, it's going to be probably 14 cups or so of avocado, which to any typical household, I know is a lot of avocado. In our household, that's a daily requirement for chocolate mousse. So, you got skin in there too?
Yeah.
Okay, so, oh, hold on. I also see a little bit more skin.
And that's the avocado.
Okay. Okay, we got lots of avocado. In it goes. So now what we're gonna do is just turn that on for a while. I'm gonna wash my hands. So that's just going to blend there for, this is super ripe avocados. Basically, they had a couple of days left in the fridge. So they are blending super fast. I see a little bit of skin I'm gonna take out. And then we can, from this point here, for about two, say you're making it for 4 people, so you're gonna use 2 avocados. I would use about 1/8 to 1/4 of a teaspoon. Here, I'm gonna use a heaping half teaspoon of salt. Maybe even a tiny bit more. Maybe we're gonna use a full teaspoon for that much of salt. And then we're going to take maple syrup, and you can see this is really nice and creamy already. So we're gonna add maybe 3/4 of a cup there. So we would add, for 4, you'd maybe use 2 or 3 tablespoons, depending on your sweetness, how much you like. You don't need a lot of sweetness for this. It's a really nice contrast between sweet and cacao. We're really high quality, 100% organic cacao, has tremendous flavor. So what we do from this point is start to add, goes in by kind of a texture. So again, the 4 that you would use, so say you're using 2 avocados for 4 people. I would put in maybe an equal amount of cacao to maple syrup, so 3 tablespoons to start with. And what you're going to find is that it's very runny as it is, but as soon as the cacao goes in, the dry cacao, it's going to start to really thicken it. Can one of you run up and get some water, please? A cup of water. If it becomes quite thick, depending on how the avocado is, how everything starts to kind of come together, you can find that it really starts to thicken and gets quite dense, more like a ganache. To make it light and airy and fluffy, like a mousse, you may find that you need to add some water. So this is kind of where it's at right now, which the texture is good and the smell is awesome. Excellent, thank you. So a lot like, I like to liken this, the water going in, to making peanut sauce. You know, you can have, say you're making peanut sauce with tahini and a bit of maple syrup and peanuts. You can mix that, but it stays a hard mass. As soon as you start putting in water, it gets to a point where it gets light and fluffy. And the same thing will happen with making chocolate mousse. To get the moussey part, the water is a nice lifter. So a little bit more of the cacao, a little bit more water. So I've used here, you don't need much. So I've used, 1/5 of a mason jar, of a 500 ml mason jar for that much. So you really are just putting in, a teaspoon at a time, for it lightens in color a little bit and it starts to just get a little bit fluffier. All right, now it's time for the tasters. Okay. So.
It's not, there's peel.
Yeah. Okay. This is where it's like either needs more sweetness, more chocolate, or more salt.
It is so sour.
Sour, so it needs more sweetness. Okay, it's a lot of avocado there. And yeah, the avocado without the right amount of sweetness doesn't taste awesome with the chocolate. It's kind of a soury, kind of funny flavor. Okay, guys, put those 2 spoons down. 2 new spoons. And with the with the sugar, we'll put a little bit more salt. Let that mix. And you be really careful with the sugar, because it gets to a point where it's like not right, perfect, just like an avocado, strangely. And if you overdo it, it's just kind of, that's really bad if it tastes a lot like maple syrup. I'm not totally sure, but we do it slowly just so we get just the right balance.
That's really good.
My daughter always wants it a little sweeter than my son.
Still really sour. What's that?
I could do it a little bit more, but it's right at that fine point.
It's not.
It's got quite a bit of cacao in it, and that's that bitterness of the cacao that my daughter's tasting. It's not so much the the avocado anymore. It's more of the deepness of the dark chocolate. So she doesn't love dark chocolate. He loves dark chocolate. So that's why he likes this the way it is, and she doesn't. So I'm trying to find that happy balance between the two. So when you're making it, that's that balance. If you use quite a lot of cacao powder, and you love cacao, then great. You may want not all that much maple syrup. So it's just playing with it.
That's quite sweet. It's good though. But
Yeah.
afterwards, you can still taste it.
Yeah. So that's probably a little bit sweeter than we usually make it. But it's great.
It's better than being really sour.
It is. All right. So then basically from here, really simple. Take it out.
Put it in the jar.
Put it in whatever you're going to serve it in.
Oh yeah.
And then you can put shredded coconut on there, some other nuts, anything that you want, or just have it as it is. And chill it for 20 minutes, up to multiple days. We'll put this covered, like in a mason jar, whichever, covered and put away for a week. and you can just serve it out of a larger mason jar. That's what we'll do with this. We'll store it in something large and just serve it out as we know. So I hope that is fun for you guys. And there you are, an avocado chocolate mousse, dairy free.
Do I get to eat it now?
Yeah, now you get to eat it.